Hey friends, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share with you how you can add and simulate delays in publishers if you're using Combine. Basically, I want to show you a very quick example of how you can do that using two methods. One is called using the delay function. The other one is using a future publisher. And in this project, I'm going to show you how does the delay work and why would you even want to do that in the first place, because I don't see many use cases of introducing delays. Usually if there's a delay, it's usually a hacky solution. But in this use case, you might want to simulate, making an API call, and obviously API calls could be asynchronous, and it could take time for the response or the data to be returned, and therefore you want to maybe cater for some kind of transition state, like some kind of loading state. Okay, so I want to introduce you to this project really fast here. Okay, so as you can see, let's look into our controller. So over here we have a navigation controller that's hooked up to a view controller, and inside this view controller we have a stack view that has two things here. We have a activity indicator as well as a label, and finally just a bar button item that says generate UUID. So every time I tap on this button, I'm basically just generating a random UUID over here. So let's look at the implementation first. Okay, so view controller, we have two IP outlets, loading view, which is the activity indicator, which this one over here, and then we have also the label, which is this guy over here. Okay, so in view deload, we are just going to hide the loading view, and then we have this IP function over here that calls this UUID service, which is an instance over here, and then we just call the generate UUID function, and then we will get back a UUID, and we'll basically just set this inside the label over here. So as you can see, this is like almost instantaneous, because if you look inside the service over here, we call the generate UUID, it returns a publisher, which is of type string, meaning to say the result type will be string, and it will never fail. Okay, and then what we do over here is that we just generate the UUID and just return a just publisher to this function. All right, so immediately you get this thing. Okay, so now the question is that what if this is a let's think, what if this is a API call instead? Okay, maybe you are trying to generate some kind of access token. Maybe you have to pass in a username and a password, and hitting on the login button, the server is going to authenticate and then return to you some kind of access token. So I'm trying to simulate this. Okay, and how would you handle that state when the server is trying to authenticate and you don't want your user to see kind of like a blank screen? Maybe you want to show some kind of activity indicator. Maybe you might even want to show a Lottie image as well, just to make things a bit funky. But over here, I want to share with you how you can do that. Okay, so inside here I have two libraries here. I have SnapKit for to fix the, do I even need this? I think I don't need this anymore. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. We don't need this. I have this activity indicator library over here. I think I've talked about this in some other videos before, so you can check it out. I'll leave a link somewhere at the top. And basically what this library does is that it helps you to toggle some kind of loading animator when the publisher is still returning those results, or if it's making an asynchronous call. Okay, so let me show to you how we can do that. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is that rather than just hitting a return over here, I'm going to introduce a delay, and the way I'm doing that is to do delay for, okay, so let's assume 2 seconds. Okay, and then I'm going to put this inside the run loop.main. So I'm going to run this and show to you what happens when I add this delay. So when I hit on the generate UUID button, you notice that it's going to take 2 seconds before I receive this brand new UUID string. Okay, so let me just hit the button right now. So notice that I have to wait for a while before this appears. Okay, I hit this one more time. I have to wait for a while before this appears. Okay, so this is the first method, okay, of introducing a delay. The second way is to use a future. So I can do it this way, return a future. So I can do it promise in. Okay, so what I need to do is that if I am to do promise. Hi developers, I want to introduce you to my brand new course that I've created this year in 2023. This is the iOS and Swift MVVM Combine SnapKit, Snapshot, UI and Unit Test course. Alright, so this is all the skills that you need to become a senior iOS engineer, and I've created this course to share all the knowledge that I've acquired for the past 7 years. So if you are a developer with 2 or 3 years of experience, look no further, because this course is going to supercharge your skills to land that senior developer role. I will provide promo links in the video description, so do check it out. Okay, so what I need to do is that if I am to do promise, and this returns so this is very similar to a result. You have to return some kind of result over here, so it's either succeed or failure. Okay, but obviously if I do failure over here, this is going to fail because The failure type over here is never. So I'm just going to return succeed over here, and I'm going to pass in the UUID. So let me just erase to any publisher. Let me make this bigger. Let's run this one more time. And you notice that this will work as well, but this happens instantaneously. All right. So as you see, now what I can do is that I can do dispatch queue.main.async after. I think I can do it this way, .now plus 2.5 maybe. And then this is where I pass in the promise over here. Let me just remove this. Okay, let me run the simulator right now, and you should kind of get the same effect as the delay function over here. So let me just hit the button over here, wait for a while, and then you get the UUID again. All right, so I've kind of like covered the main topic of what are the two ways to introduce delay. Now I want to show you how you can, basically when I hit the UUID, I want to show the loading animator, and then after that 2.5 seconds or whatever time interval here that I specify, then I update the label and show the UUID, okay? So what I need to do is I have to come over to my UUID service over here and create an activity indicator. All right, so let me just maybe just bring you back to this website here. Let me just open this up again. If you have forgotten about this, let me just show it to you. All right, so I realized that this was written by one of my kind of ex-colleague. All right, so yeah, this is a pretty good library. So you can declare some kind of activity indicator over here, expose this, and then use the track function to track the activity indicator. And then what we need to do is just to observe the loading publisher. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this out of the way because I've got the code already set up. Okay, so what I need to do over here is that I want to create some kind of activity indicator. So activity indicator equals to activity indicator, and I have this because I've already imported the library over here. Okay, so activity indicator over here. I don't think I need SnapKit anymore. Okay, so what I need to do is to add the loading publisher. Okay, I have that inside my Visual Studio Code, so I'm just gonna paste this. Okay, so private let, and then I have this one, loading indicator. Okay, so you notice that this is a private variable, so it's not accessible by anyone outside of the class, but I'm exposing it by just returning a read only. So activity indicator .loading.erase to any publisher. All right, so what I need to do now is that I have to attach this to the publisher that I'm returning over here. So instead of just erase to any publisher, I have to do .track activity, and then I just pass in the activity indicator, just like that. All right, so pretty simple. And I'm going to show you how you can do the same for the .delay function as well. Okay, so now inside here, inside the view deload, I want to observe. Okay, so observe, and right now let's create the observe function. Okay, so now I have access to this loading publisher. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy and paste the code so that we don't waste too much time. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now let's see what we have over here. So UUID service, we have that over here. We are getting the loading publisher, which is this guy over here. All right, and then we are syncing it. Basically, we're observing it. Okay, and this publisher returns to us a boolean. Okay, so I'm going to call this is enabled. All right, so what happens over here is that I'm going to, every time this is being fired, I'm going to hide both the label as well as the loading view, which is the activity indicator. Okay, I'm looping it, and then I'm setting both the incident property to be true. And then if it's enabled, all right, meaning to say loading publisher is enabled, then I'm going to unhide the loading view. All right, otherwise, I'm going to unhide the label instead. Okay, I hope that this is easy to understand. So let's just run this and let's see if this is working for us. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit the generate UUID now. So you notice that this is loading for 2.5 seconds, and upon this dispatch after returning us the promise, we're going to toggle the loading publisher off and then revealing our label. All right, so this is how it can be done. Okay, so obviously this is a very simple use case. You can do like more funky stuff like hiding the label, showing some kind of lottie animation, and then hiding the lottie animation and revealing the label as well. All right, so this is one way. So if you don't want to use the future, this is I would think a much simpler way as well. Okay, you can add the delay, and then you can I think you can just do, I think let's do that after the delay. I think that'll be better. So track activity indicator, let's run this one more time. And I believe that this will kind of work the same way as well. So hit the generate UUID. We have that loading animation. Yep. Alright guys, that's all I have to share with you. I think it's a really simple tutorial, but I think this could be useful for many of the viewers over here. So yeah, I'm gonna upload this onto my GitHub, and feel free to check it out. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers and bye.